Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How is it going? Listen, like we like to do all the time, we want to start this by asking you, how are you doing? How are you faring? What's going on with you? Because, we know it can be challenge sometimes each and every day. And we just want to honor things that you might be going through and just want to let you know we're thinking of you. We're thinking the best for you. We're just sending out good thoughts to you. If you'd like to become a member of this community, we'll talk about it later. But if it's something that might interest you, we would just love to hear from you. So, anywho, what is going on with me? Well, things are fine basically, but have had some challenges at the store, at the grocery store, right? So, I just wanted to share a few things with you. Earlier, I had talked about looking for Halloween candy. And, in years past, if it was under 30 bucks, no problem. And just based on where we live, the houses are spread out, just a little bit. They're not super close together here. So, the number of kids have been dwindling over the years. And so I just got to the point I would just buy one of those 36-pack things of candy bars. And, as long as I was under 30 bucks, it was no problem. We'll just go ahead and do that. Been like that for years. And then I started looking this month because it's October, and I was just wondering who has sales, what can we get, what should I plan on buying. And when I looked at the prices of the candy bars, my mouth was, huh? Over $55. It was $55 and change for that normal box of candy bars that I get. And it's like, oh, sorry, no, I won't be doing that. And I told you a few times ago, my husband said, don't be that house that gives the kids cookies, individually wrapped, of course. That or chips, because they'll just throw them in the yard. They want candy. Okay, I get what they want. However, that price is so steep. It just is. Come on. $55 and change for candy bars. And I'm going to assume that it's because chocolate isn't for the most part, chocolate, cocoa beans are not for the most part grown in the United States. And so is it a tariff? I don't know specifically. I'm not a policymaker, a policy wonk. I am just a consumer trying to get the best value that I can, and I can't do that $55. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe those little mini bars that they're kind of worthless, but is that what I'm left with? So we'll see. I don't quite know where that's going to go. I've got a few weeks before Halloween, but then it made me think, okay, what about my chocolate covered raisins? Let me just show you. Here's what I get. I don't get it that often because, when I buy it, this is a huge container. When I buy it, I take a few, and I don't know, maybe this has been around for not between 6 months and a year. I don't know. But it was always under $10. And so when I started looking for a reorder, I'm looking at that container. It is now $19.98. Now, I shop at one of the big box stores where you need a membership to go in. It's a good value as long as you use stuff up, and I make sure that I do. But 1998 for chocolate covered raisins, that's just something I will just have to do without. I have other options, and so that is just what I'm going to have to do. So then I was like, wait a minute, I know I have a package of coffee yet, and my packages are 32 ounces. Okay, so let me show you. I started buying this, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago. Love it. It fit in with my need to cut back on expenses. I don't go to the fancy coffee places, but once in a great while when I'm with a friend, and that's where we go to meet, so then I would have coffee. But my morning coffee, I make that myself. It lasts for 3 months. And when I first started getting this coffee, it was under $9. I'm pretty certain of that. Now it steadily has been going up over the last few years. And when I looked at the price, I think it was yesterday, that bag that I used to get for less than $9 is now $14 and 90 some odd cents. So let's just say $15 for the sake of argument. And since everything is going up, that's only going to get worse. So right now I bought 3 more packages of that. And so this will last me through the end of 2026. I just had to think that way, and just, you can't buy too much because you don't want stuff to, well, it wouldn't spoil, but it would get bad after a while, right? And we can't have that. So buy what you're going to use. And what I might suggest is maybe partnering with a friend or a family member. One of you go shopping, you split what you get, because not everybody can use up everything that comes from those big stores, big membership stores. You know the ones I'm talking about, right? So it's something for you to think about, because we need to save money anywhere we can. I know one of my friends who lives in Florida, he was going into a grocery store, and there was a couple that was coming out with a loaded grocery cart. And he's one of those, he chats with everybody, right? And he asks, that's a lot of stuff. And they said, yeah, this cost us about $600. And I'm like, you're at the grocery store spending $600? That is, I won't say it's insane. It's what a lot of people are doing and what they have to do. I would just suggest look for another way, membership driven. Split it with somebody. I don't necessarily mean the cost of the membership, that sort of thing, but one person can go shopping for a few people, and you guys split it up when you go home, because that is insane. How does a family afford that? And this family, I think they said they shop a couple of times a month. So $1,200 to feed the family? That's just, how does anybody afford it? It's too much. It just is. It's a lot of money to ask people to spend, and I'm guessing their paychecks aren't really keeping up with it. So look for ways to save your money, please. I just want to look out for you, because it's stuff I've run into, and I know you have too. You just haven't had anybody to talk to about it. Well, you've got us to talk to about that. So let us know what you might be struggling with. And okay, so what do I have? I have because when I go shopping, as much as I possibly can, it's cash. And then whatever change I get back goes right in here. And right now I have to look at it, $38.94. And every year in December, I cash out my change, and it's either for a massage or some sort of a treat, whatever, just something fun. And I've saved my money, and I'm not going into debt for anything, or very little. And we'll just go with that. I want to talk to you about good debt versus bad debt here in a bit, but hang on just a second, because we have been looking at these kids' books, and we don't care, do we, that they are for kids? Because this is Money Matters for Teens workbook. We can all learn something from it, and we all should learn something from it. I was flipping through this morning, and I loved this particular tip that it gives to kids. And it says, never borrow money to pay for things that will go down in value. So one of these sessions, I was talking to you about somebody who came into some money. He had a claim of some sort. And I was guessing, because I know it was more than $100,000 that he got, less than 200. So I just said 150 for argument's sake. And, one of the first things he went out and did was bought new cars for himself and his now former wife. And that's the thing about cars. The second you drive them off the lot, they've decreased in value. Now, I know everybody, or at least most of us, need a car, right? And so I want to be respectful of that. I know we need a vehicle, but we can save up money to, or most of us can. I don't want to say what everybody can, because all of us cannot do the exact same thing. But one of the things that I started years ago, because I used to have newer cars, and I would get a loan to do it. And, that in the book saying, never borrow money for something that is going to decrease in value. That is a valuable lesson that kids need to learn early. Don't let that shiny new thing get in the way of your money happiness. And what I've been able to do over the years, I put money away and buy my cars straight out. Nothing is brand new. It isn't. My most recent purchase, which is 2025, that the car I have is a 2021. And we bought it a year and a half ago cash. Because no, not, no more car loans, just new. That's not good debt. I realize some people have to go that route, but it is not good debt. And so I was talking earlier about good debt versus bad debt. I've had to adjust my thinking over the years, because I was raised to believe good debt was always a mortgage, buying your own home and having a mortgage, and the other thing, student loan. Like, you could not go wrong with student loans. You see a problem with any of that? Yeah, so be very careful with homes. I'm seeing young people, and they have wants, and they feel like they need certain things in a house, and that those things are all valid. Just be very careful, because the bank will give you X amount of dollars. But the question is, should you spend all that money? And the answer almost always is no. Because I know over the years, the banks have always tried to give us more money. It's like, no, let's knock that down. I'm looking at houses in this range, not that range. Nope, no, because while it's good if you can to own your own home, I know not everybody can do that, but if that is your goal, just buy under whatever the bank wants to give you. Because remember, the bank's business is to give you money to put you in debt. Quite truthfully, that is how that works. So be very, very careful, and just look out for yourself, because the rest of the world isn't necessarily going to be looking out for you. And then the other debt was student debt, and I bought into that. Now, I didn't go crazy with that. I had my undergrad loans, and I actually paid those off. And I went on for a graduate degree, thinking that it would increase my my earnings potential. And it did in a way, but not really in the way I had expected it to. So I'm on the path of paying everything off in 3.5 years for the grad school loans. And I'm pumping. You go every single month. I have, I'm writing out my payments and doing what I need to do, because in 3.5 years, that debt needs to be gone. Because I put money into my retirement account. I have money in my savings account for emergencies and whatnot, whatever might come up, because I'm not going into debt to do things. And so just keep all of that in mind. And my husband kind of laughs at me, because I am fairly disciplined when it comes to paying off debt. I'm not going to say he's a spendthrift, because that would not be the case at all. But I have blinders on when it comes to paying off debt. It just keeps me awake at night. And, we can't have that. We just can't. So take care of yourself. Be very, very careful and very disciplined with debt. I'm just hoping that kind of comes through, and just think about it in your own life, and whatever you need to do to take care of yourselves, please do that. Okay? So we're going to wrap this up here in a minute or two. But at the beginning, I had talked about you joining this community if you choose to. It is completely and totally free. I will never ask you to pay for this, because the only reason why I'm doing this is because I wish something like this had been available when I was younger, and I could look at debt more responsibly and differently. So I'm just sharing with you School of Hard Knocks. I am by no means a financial person. There's plenty of people out there, plenty of millionaires out there who are financial gurus, and that is not me. I just want to share with you what I've learned, and I just hope it's something that you can take, you can incorporate however it works for you. And one thing, I had told you last time, so sorry, that I was going to start giving recipes, things that I have made, especially with the leftover chicken from, one of those big box stores, because they sell those chickens for $5, and you can make multiple meals from that. You can make different meals with your leftovers. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to start it next time where that's what I'm talking about. Here's what I made. Here's what I spent to make said dish that lasted for, quite a while, for a number of meals. So I will share that with you next time. Promise. In any case, thank you so much. And, subscribe to this if you would like to be a part of the community. Leave us a note, share any thoughts, give us a thumbs up. Just kind of talk to us, because that's why we're all here. So with that, thank you so much for joining me for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne, and until next time, okay? Bye-bye.